Hello! Do you want to make so that your model can have a little nice crying animation like this with animated tears that go down your face? Then you're in the right place. I will show you. By the way, this design is gently borrowed by yoclesh. I made a chibi model for her, but the design is not mine, so I will put her contacts, Twitter and Twitch down below in the description. So to make all of this happen, we're gonna have to go through, we can say 4 steps. The first one is for the art, which is gonna be the drawing of the tears. Then we need to set up the expression for your model to be sad. Then we need to create a loop for the tear to go down the face and then reset. And lastly, we need to go animated to make sure that the speed of your tear is all set up and is looping correctly. So let's talk about the drawing. This is very easy. You just need a bigger tear blob that is gonna sit under your eye without moving, basically only wobbling a little bit, and then a small tear that you're gonna hide behind, so under the bigger tear, and this is the one that is gonna move and go down. It's like the active one. I am also gonna work only on one eye because we can copy paste to the other side. So I have reset the right tears so they are not responding anymore to the animation that I already made, but we're gonna have the left one as a reference, so all along you have an idea of what we're gonna do. Hey, I wanted to remind you that I also stream on Twitch every day except for Friday at 5 PM Central Europe time. I'll leave the link in the description, don't miss my streams! So, let's start from the first thing, which is before creating the loop, we need to create these on and off special expressions, which with a click of a button will enable you to trigger the animation. As you can see, we go from normal to sad. Okay, so let's make a new parameter as if I didn't have this one. Let's call it sad. Remove this number and give your parameter a name that you will remember. Minimum needs to be 0, default needs to be 0, and maximum needs to be 1. These are the numbers that you must use every time with your special expressions that will be triggered with hotkeys. By the way, it says invalid ID because I already have said, so I will write 1 just for the tutorial, but you don't need to add numbers to that. Now we can select both of our tiers. Left click, hold shift, left click again, you're gonna select both of them. Click on your parameter and then click on these 2 elements. So then now your 2 objects are active in this set parameter. Okay, now what we need to do is that on the left, which is the default state, we don't want our model to be set on default. So here we need to make our tears transparent. We just go here, opacity, 0%, enter. And this is it, basically. You see that sliding across. Here they have opacity 0. Here they have opacity 100%. Now, let's talk 1 second about the bigger tear, because we can link this one to the breath parameter, because it just needs to wobble a little bit, but it's not gonna move. It's not a movement that is too complex, so we can link this to the breath. Now, so click on your big tear, click on the breath parameter, and click on the 3 green dots. So you're gonna have 3 states of this. Leave the first one as it is. Now right click on the middle one, and we can use this tool here that is gonna let us do some deformation by dragging around. I like to deform it randomly so that it's gonna look as if it's some water that is wobbling around. So really do as you prefer with this one. Just drag it around a little bit randomly. Like this. Now if we go to modeling, open physics scene blending settings, and we find our sad expression and bring it to the left, we can see that our tears are wobbling around. This is good. Now we need to work on our loop. Basically how the loop works is that your shape is gonna travel on its perimeter. Let me show you on this side. We are starting from the bottom left. That is gonna be, the tear is visible and is behind here as we imported it. When it goes up, it starts to go down, to drip down, dripping, dripping, dripping. Now look at this. I need the last 2 points for the tear to be transparent, so 0 opacity. Now if I click on it, you can still see what it does, so I can show you why we need that. So we have it dripping down. Now this first 0 opacity is to have our tear slowly fade away, and the second one is to bring the tear back in its place without showing, and then it's going back to visible but hidden behind. So if I don't click on it, what you see is as if the tear disappears and then another one starts from the top. This is what we're gonna do. So let me select this tier one. Let's create a new parameter. We can call it 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐿oop1. We don't need to change the ID for this one. Minimum is gonna be 0, maximum is gonna be 1. Let's create also 𝐋𝐈𝐿oop2. To create a loop, we need 2 parameters. So that we create a square. Now the bottom one only has 2 and the top one has 4. Like this. I like to put them like this, but you can feel free to test what works the best for you. Okay, to move this tear around, I like to put a deformation path all around it, so that I can very easily and freely change the shape of it, so that I can make it as if it was really sliding across the cheek. So basically it doesn't really matter how fast it goes down, because we're gonna control that in the animation step. But what is important is that these last 2 before going back to default are transparent. So let's start. Right click on this one and let's start to bring down our tear. So what I like to do is to elongate it a little bit, because it's almost as if like the tear was really coming out of there, and as the tear goes down, it's as if it was elongated. Now, to keep the path going on without having weird, like for example, if now I wanted to put it here, but I am not sure what the shape was before, Ctrl Z when you want to go back if you made a mistake. What we can do is right click here, and now listen to me, hold Ctrl Shift C. This is gonna be the aspect of our tear in this moment. So click on your tear, click here, Ctrl Shift C, click on a new keyform, Ctrl-Shift-D. Wait a second, bam, it's here. So we can continue the forming on the shape that we already created. This is gonna give us a more smooth look. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit more. Again, click on your tier. I like to do this reset because if I have this point selected and I Ctrl-Shift-C and Ctrl-Shift-V, sometimes it doesn't work or only one point is transported. So reset by clicking on anything else. Click again on your tier, Ctrl-Shift-C, Ctrl-Shift-V, and we can make our tier go down, following the shape of our face. Right, again, reset, Ctrl-Shift-C, Ctrl-Shift-V. Note that I reached this point of detaching here. So here it will be starting to fall and here it will be becoming transparent. So again, reset, Ctrl-Shift-C, Ctrl-Shift-V, and these start to detach. When it detaches, it can go back to a more round shape. Again, reset, Ctrl-Shift-C, Ctrl-Shift-V, and we just make it go down straight. So this is the path. It's following the curve and then falling down straight. So before making these 2 points transparent, I want you to check that in this step, your tier is back to normal. So we have default, starting to fall, starting to detach, already detached, and on the farthest point that you want the tier to reach before becoming transparent, back to normal. So this is just working as we wanted. We can go here, click here, opacity 0%. Click here to opacity 0%. Because look, if we don't make it this one transparent, look what happens. The tier goes down, detach, but you see going back. You see it going back is no good. Okay, we want to make it transparent then. I lost it. It's too transparent. There we go. Make it 0% opacity. Yeah, and it's working. Check that everything looks alright. Okay, so one little tip that I wanted to tell you, I forgot in the start, but you can always do that. If you have your tiers, alright, you want to bring them inside of your eye deformer, because let's say that maybe I put them outside of my eye deformer. When my head rotates, the tier is just gonna be there, is not following it. So make sure that you're on deformer window. Select both by holding Ctrl and drag and drop them inside of your eye deformer. Here I have a lot of deformers because I have a lot of wiggles and physics in the eye. In general, make sure that those are inside of the same deformer as the lashes, and you're gonna be good. Okay, in case your tiers are in the wrong order instead, so the deformer is good, but maybe they are under your low lash, so you want to be on top, then you go into the part window and move them from here. Look what happens if I move them from the deformer window. it doesn't work because the deformer does not care about what is on top of each other items. The deformer cares only on the order of the deformers. Okay, now that we got our little cute loop ready, we just need to go into the animation window. Maybe it's better if we do like this. File, new, animation. Make sure SDK Unity is selected. Okay. Now, maybe if you're a beginner, you never saw this page. Don't worry, it's very easy to do what we want to do. So, we have our Yochibi here, which is our model in the project folder. You have to drag and drop it in the timeline. It might be very big. You could leave it like this because it doesn't matter the size of it if it's a animation for a VTuber model. But we are resizing it just so that we can see better what happens and we don't have this weird square in front of our face. So click on top of your model, zoom out by scrolling, hold Alt and Shift and drag the side. I mean, like this is already good. As I told you, it doesn't matter if it goes outside. But at least now we have the face without any squares, weird squares on top of it. So this is the length of your animation. This is the length of your animation, the orange one. This is the length of the visibility of your model. So for this time, we want this one to be as long as the orange one. Now let's click on this little arrow here and it's gonna show us Live2d parameters. Okay, this is your timeline. Okay, so bring this red cursor on the start and take your sad emote and bring it to 1. We will remove this, but in this moment we need to activate it, otherwise we cannot see our tears. You see, we don't see it. So we need to bring this up, but make sure that when you are finished working on your loop, you need to delete this keyframe, otherwise your model is gonna be always sad. So for now, bring this to the start and right click on this left keyframe. Okay, now all we have to care is about our loop. We start from the bottom left, which is our default. Right click on it. Bring this a couple frames in the front, and basically you want to do this. Follow all of your loop. Couple frames, follow the loop. And right click on all of your keyframes. We are gonna adjust the timing in between the keyframes. By testing it, you have no way of knowing beforehand what the distance in between of each keyframe has to be. Just by playing it, you can see. You see, maybe it was a little bit too fast. Let me play at velocity 50%. The tear, it looks like it's going fast, then stops a little bit, goes slow, then fast. We need to fix that. You can also scroll to see the speed. So I see that it's starting very fast, then in between these two is going fairly slow compared to the start. So when you think that going from this to this is too slow, basically you just have to make these two more near. So it's gonna take less time to go from the keyframe to first keyframe to the second keyframe. Instead, if you think that the tear is going too fast, you can increase the time of that. Basically, this is just what you have to do. Okay, so while working, you might have noticed that in the moment when the loop reaches one of the corners, we have a weird stop. Look at it. Weird stop again. This is because if you're going straight into the loop, so it's gonna have a straight stop, straight stop, straight stop, because it's going inside of the corner. So we can zoom in. You can go one frame behind and left click just before the corner, one frame after, and click just one frame after, like this. Now select this and delete keyframe. What is gonna happen is that it's actually making a little curve here, and it doesn't have the chance to stop in the corner and then continue. Instead, it's having a nice little curve, so the movement is gonna be smoother. Look at it again. You see it does not have that weird stop. Let's try it again also with this other one. Look at the weird stop. There is a weird little stop. We can do this again. One frame behind. Just a little bit before 0.9. One keyframe in front. Just a little bit after. Delete the middle one. Check it again. Much smoother. Okay, this is perfect. This is ready. This is ready. We just need to export it. Before doing that, I want you... By the way, if you hold Alt and scroll, it's gonna change the size of it. I want you to grab this and make it so that after your stop, just leave a couple frames and then make it stop. So you're gonna have a little bit of break in between each tier going down. Grab these two and bring it at the same point of orange. In the end, grab these two, which is the work area, and bring it here. And we have our animation ready. And it's working. We can export from runtime, export motion file. Okay. Make sure model is right, parameter, keyed parameters. You can leave this one as they are. Okay. You can call it tears, cry, however you want. I'm gonna say tears because cry already have it. And save. Make sure to save that this animation inside of your model folder. Okay, so we are in Vtube Studio. This is the last step, so that you just need to activate your emotion that you just made. First of all, open the menu, double click and click on this little thingy here. Click up here on this, which is for the special expressions. Oh, let me remove this. Click on use keyboard settings. Now click on this plus to create a new expression. Call it maybe cry. Hotkey action, set unset expression. Select expression, set, and select a key for it to work. Maybe I can use set. You see it's working. But we have no tier going down. How to activate that? Now you click on this idle animation and you need to select your idle animation that we created earlier with the loop. And it's not working. That was it. I hope that you liked my tutorial. Whoops. So, if this was helpful for you, please feel free to share it with your friends, leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you have any question, or if you want to suggest me what topics to cover in my next tutorials. Thank you so much for coming. I hope to see you again. Bye bye bye. Bye bye bye. Good luck with your work. Gambare, you can do it.